Okay, Robert. So I'm making this video because you asked for some clarification. Uh, so I think your pull is fine. I think the only thing I mentioned was when you're going forward, a little bit more twist on your toast. Um, so what I'm talking about in the recovery with your top hand is, so right here, right, your exit is good. As you're going into this next portion right here, okay, you'll notice that your paddle goes a little bit high. So right here, so let me get this line. Okay, so oops. Okay, if the water height is here, right, your paddle's a couple inches high there, and even as you swing through here, right, your blade is way up here. Okay, so that was a couple extra inches, right, causes your top end have to go extra high. So I'm gonna compare you right now real quick. I mean, so both you and Chris are both a little bit high on that recovery, right? You can, if you take a look at Robert, he's way taller than both of you, right? Um, but because, right, one of the big things is he has his blade just over the water, whereas both of you have your blade there, right? And you can see that that is the biggest difference in your top hand height, right? It all kind of connects together through that paddle. So this is what I'm talking about with making sure when you recover, try to be a little bit more efficient, because anytime you lift that paddle higher, you're wasting just a little bit of energy. I know that part of it is sometimes you guys want to make sure that you completely clear that water that maybe is coming up. So I can see right here, right? I know that I can see that water that's getting picked up, but it's actually still more efficient to just try to go through that water versus trying to lift above it. The biggest reason that you don't want to try to lift above it is because you're actually holding more tension in those shoulders trying to lift that paddle up. Okay. So I know I originally started this video with just talking about it for you, Robert, but I can kind of see that Chris has a little bit of the same thing, although your paddle is definitely a little bit higher than his. So, right, we can see right here, even as we get into the setup, right, your paddle is even above the gunnel. Chris's is starting to get a little bit lower right there, just definitely a little bit better. Okay. So one of the things that I was saying, because when you finally get to setup right here, so at this position, your paddle is now just over the water, but your arm placements on the paddle, if I compare, oops. So we can compare a couple things here. So if you take a look at your hand placement, I was saying in my notes, maybe you can try moving your lower hand up a little bit, maybe a couple inches up. What that's going to allow you to do is get more into a position like Robert right here. So you can see that, you know, he's a pretty tall guy, but if you look at two hands, right, yours are further apart than his are. Okay, so try to move that lower hand up. It's actually going to allow you to get your blade into this angle okay, a little bit more easily by doing that. It will also allow your top hand to come down into this position a little bit better. So when I was saying your top hand is a little bit high, right? If I draw a line here, oops. If I draw a straight line, oh, that's not quite as straight. That's not quite completely straight. Okay, so this is more of a straight line compared to the boat, right? And you can see top hand, and then yours is just a couple inches higher. Okay, so that's, hopefully that kind of clarifies things. You'll be in a little bit more powerful position if you can get that top hand a couple inches lower. And the way to achieve that is really, because your paddle is already over the water, it's really mainly by moving that lower hand up just a little bit. Okay. Well, while I'm at it, I'm gonna just mention to Chris as well in this video. I think I had Chris. I think I already mentioned this in the notes, but you can see that as I think this is pretty late into the piece. This is about 1:30 in, so you can see that. Oops. As you're getting more tired, you kind of lose a little bit of your twist too, right? So you can see how much of the back Robert Stokes is showing to the camera and how much we have here in your toast before you catch, right? You can also see the blade angle differential that happens when you don't twist enough, right? So when you're twisting a little bit less, right? If I were to draw my A-frames, connecting those, right? So you can see your A-frame is just a little bit collapsed in because of that twist being just a little bit less. Okay, so keep that twist going even as we get tired. Alright, so that's it for this particular video.